Morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
Oh, shoot. And pun intended. What did he say now? Republican Donald Trump on the attack.
He just named hedge fund guys, billionaire guys, 6 guys named Steve.
Hillary Clinton jabs at Trump as the Democrat takes on water with a brewing scandal, the Clinton Foundation and the State Department. And Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh is our guest this morning. We'll talk about the issue of race in the city of Boston. Let's go on the record.
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, and along with our political reporter here at News Center 5, Janet Wu, familiar face sitting alongside to my right, your left, Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh. Great to have you with us. The last time I saw you was at the convention, and he had just finished his speech, and he turned to me and said, "The right teleprompter went out." That's true.
It was out.
And you still handled it flawlessly.
I was doing the
I don't
speech.
think anybody at home could tell.
No, and they said if it goes down, the teleprompter in front of you is working. So I went out there, and Massachusetts was going crazy. I looked left, I looked right, and said hi to everyone. Next thing I started to read the speech, and I just sat on the left and went to the right, and went back to the left.
Very good.
Like, thank God I read it 100 times.
Welcome to our world.
Good to tell. Very
But
good.
it was a big moment for you. Did you like doing it? Were you thrilled? Were you scared? Were you
I was
worried?
nervous in the warm-up. Going before practicing, I didn't really practice the speech, but standing out there, and then when I got out there, I felt really comfortable and great. The people around the country were unbelievable, and then afterwards, I found out like 26 million people watching at that particular moment. I was like, wow, it was pretty.
Well, just to follow up on what Janet said, and then we'll move on to the issues we have to talk about. You started off by saying, "My name is Marty Walsh, and I'm an alcoholic." That is a very bold and private statement that you made in front of 26 million people.
Yeah, and it really was about, talking about what I think that Hillary Clinton and her administration can do for people, and about believing in second chances, and about, some of the programming that can happen under a Clinton administration. And I think that one thing, not to get too much into party politics here, but Hillary Clinton's campaign is talking about issues and backing them up, and Donald Trump is using sound bites. And I think that I'm hoping that Americans and Bostonians and Massachusetts folks look and vote not to vote the party or the candidate, but vote the person who's right for the job.
We're definitely going to get into that a little bit later, but let's start with some local issues. Your administration is sort of under a lot of pressure right now from both the police unions as well as communities of color. Is it just a question of politics, or is there a real problem here in Boston?
I wouldn't necessarily. I don't feel the pressure. I think that we have a lot of issues going on, and we've been working at this for 3 years. Myself, Commissioner Evans, Chief Willie Gross, and the community in building that trust with the communities and the police department. Right now, we're dealing with body cameras, and we're working on putting in a pilot program. And really, what's interesting is all the discussion around the pilot program when we really are putting a program in to see how they work, and if they work, and what they're going to do, what they're going to tell us. And I think that, in the police unions, they sent a letter the other day. They're frustrated too, and they're concerned. I mean, they've had
There were some harsh words in that letter.
Absolutely. And
were they right, or were they exaggerating? Are they negotiating
I think a little bit of all. Nothing to do with the contract. I think it has everything to do with the rank and file office they represent, and they're concerned about their safety, and they hear it from the members as well and from their families. When you have an incident like what happened in Dallas, obviously every police officer and their family, probably even more so than the officer, get concerned. So we're going to make sure that our police officers are safe in Boston.
But I guess it goes back to my original question. Is the pressure coming from other cities, or is there a problem or problems here in Boston that need to be resolved outside of what's going on in Dallas and Chicago and Baltimore?
I think there's definitely some pressure coming from Boston, but I think a majority of the pressure we're seeing from around the country. I think people are watching the news and seeing what's happening in different cities around America, and they're talking about it here in our streets. And we haven't had those incidents, and hopefully we never will, of police-involved shootings in our streets. I mean, one thing in Boston, we have a trend going down on arrests. Last year we had a 15% reduction in arrests. This year we're already at 12% reduction in arrests. That shows there's a lot of conflict resolution going on in the street rather than arrest. So I think we're working at it a lot better than other cities around America. But yet, there's still the tension is going to be here.
Sure. You just mentioned body cameras. Let's talk about that. Even your own police commissioner seems reluctant to embrace them.
Long term.
Long term, right. And you have to work out what it is. Is this pilot program just a facade, or are you committed to the long term, and is this going to happen?
It's a real program. I mean, I think that one thing that we haven't been able to see with the programs that have gone around the country is what's the results of those cameras. Now, the only city I've heard that actually has a real good policy that's working, that everyone seems real comfortable with, is Houston, Texas. But when you hear about there's other Arlington, Texas eliminated the body camera proposal. New York has a body camera. I think they have 35 officers out of 35,000 officers wearing them. So you can't gauge really how effective they are. We're going to have a pretty good sampling of 100 out of 2,100 officers. And when I say 21, I don't know, maybe 1,700 are in the street. So we're going to get a real good gauge of exactly how these work. We're going to put them in districts that there's a lot of interaction with people, and hopefully at the end of the program, the pilot program, we'll check and see what information we have and how does it work.
Mr. Mayor, we'd like to take a look at this video. It is in Chicago, but it's a part of this discussion that we're having right now.
Take a look.
Now, the police turned off the camera just before the suspect is shot. How do you prevent this from happening? Police turning off cameras?
I mean, you can't. I mean, the way that it's supposed to work is that if you approach somebody, there is an opportunity for somebody the police is approaching, saying we don't want the camera on. I believe that's in the pilot, and they can shut it off. But a case like that, there's no excuse for that, no answer for that. And in that particular case, I mean, this Chicago officer shot at an ongoing car. In Boston, there's a policy that you can't shoot at a car going by because of the repercussions. So that whole situation appears, and again, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm not from Chicago and I'm not the police commissioner of Chicago, but it appears that whole situation in Chicago was handled completely wrong.
But you saw the difference there. I mean, it might not make logical sense to give the officer the ability to shut the camera off, because then therefore that gives them the ability to control it and edit it, and that's not a real
The Civil Liberties Union will fight us on that, because they're going to say that at certain times if there's a person that a police officer is talking to and they want it off, I think that we have to. It's civil liberties. I mean, that's where you get into all these legal battles and going back and forth.
But they should record that moment on the camera, therefore it's available.
Yeah, if you have it on the camera, and also I think that's what the pilot's for, to be able to review all this information. We have the Civil Liberties Union who wants us to have body cameras, yet there's a time frame. They don't want us to have them too long or have the video too long. So you can't have it both ways. We got to figure out how to move forward.
But just very quickly, in about 4 or 5 years, do you think most police officers in Boston will be wearing those police cameras?
I think there'll be some sort of technology. I'm not sure if it's body cameras. I think because it's going to change over time. I know at one point there was a big fad in this country to have dash cams, and that kind of went away. So I think that there'll probably be some more technology that's used. And I also think in 4 or 5 years, there's going to be a lot more cameras around the city, surveilling the city and the country.
Is it fair to say middle-class flight is one of your biggest challenges, at least in the city, one of your administration's biggest challenges?
Actually, no. I think middle-class people are moving back, trying to move back into the city in a crazy number.
All right. Well, let's talk about let's talk about the culture of the exam schools like Boston Latin. How do you keep the families and the tax base, and then with you say people are staying in the city too?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things we have to do. I mean, let's push aside Boston Latin for a minute. We have to strengthen the school system. I mean, ultimately, when you see all these millennials living in the city today, and you're seeing over years and years and years, during busing, you had people leaving the city because of busing. What you're having people leaving the city today for is when millennials get married and have kids, when the kids become school-age kids, they might try for a second, third grade with Boston, but after that, they move. We have to keep those families in, so we have to strengthen the system. When it comes to Latin School, Latin Academy, John D. O'Brien are exam schools. You have to test into those schools, but we have to have other options. It can't just be Latin Academy and John D. O'Brien.
Don't you have problems at those schools that you've got to resolve if you're going to get these middle-class families to stay in the city when their kids get beyond second grade?
We had some issues at Latin School this year, and we're working on them. And we did. I took a peek at some numbers the other day of how many kids of color have tested into the 3 exam schools, and there's a good number. I think it's like 40+%. What's happening is the number of black students who have chosen Latin School have been going down. That's a problem. So we have to find out, like, obviously we know there's some issues there. So now we have to work on those issues, because we want to make sure that the kids of color and kids that get into these schools choose these schools because they want to. The numbers of
not because they're afraid to.
Not because they're afraid to. The number of kids at John D. O'Brien and the Latin Academy that are black kids, those numbers are a lot higher than Latin School. They have the option to go into Latin School, but they choose the other schools. So there's a fundamental issue there that we have to deal with, and I didn't realize that until more recently. And then obviously, just real quickly.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And then I think with the leadership now at Latin School, really focused on dealing with the race conversation and dialogue in the school. I think we'll see changes.
Pop quiz time. You ready?
I'll do my best.
You always do. You ready to take your swing? Swing and a drive. All right, question 1. What member of the Kennedy family is asking people to stop calling Donald Trump crazy? Using the word crazy. Silence is golden.
It's one of Bobby's. I'd say one of Bobby's. No, Patrick.
There you go. There you're in there. Question 2.
Easy.
Very good. You got there. This past week, a federal judge upheld the 14-year prison corruption sentence for former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. What did he do?
I think he sold the Senate seat
That Barack Obama held in Illinois. We're back with the mayor right after this.